Football is nearly back. I'm here with Ben and Dylan to talk about the kind of surprising pre-season game we've got coming up against Wigan that got announced last week. What are you thinking? Happy? Excited? How are you feeling, Dylan?
I'm quite excited for it. It's Mourinho'S first game. I'm looking forward to getting down there, seeing a few guys, hoping to, see Mourinho on the touchline actually stood up rather than watching Van Gaal sat there with a notepad. It's going to just be... I feel like it's going to be more fun to watch than anything we've seen for the past maybe year.
Yeah,
even
I would
if
say
it is only
if
Wigan.
there's one thing it's definitely going to be, it's not going to be boring, is it? What do you reckon, Ben?
No, exactly. I agree with Dylan. It's good to we've had to endure England for the past 4 weeks and the Euros and all that international bollocks. So it's good to get back to club football, even though it's a friendly. Like Dylan said, Mourinho's first game, there's that intrigue there, and he's not going to obviously do anything sort of special on the touchline in this game, but it's going to happen at Old Trafford and stuff. So it's exciting times, and it's just kicking it all off. So yeah, very excited.
I mean, for me, look at this, because obviously we fly to China for our pre-season tour, playing Dortmund and City. This is kind of an opportunity for Mourinho to see a lot of the fringe players play, because nobody who's at Euro 2016 is going to play at the weekend. So Rashford's not there, Rooney, Ibrahimovic, a lot of players. And hopefully we're going to see Luke Shaw make his first appearance in September. Maybe Memphis Depay and maybe even Juan Mata. I mean, what sort of starting 11 do you expect to see? We've got Tyler Warren going, Terrell Warren, and we've got Axel Wanzebe, two teenage defenders who are going to be in the squad. Do you expect him to play an experienced lineup, Dylan, or do you expect Mourinho to sort of tinker and use those fringe players to find out who they are?
I think we'll see a bit of a mix. I think we'll see a lot, like you say, we will see the fringe players involved simply because everyone's not here. You've got players away at the Euros, just coming back off it. One thing I am interested to see is where he uses Fosu Mensah if he features in the Wigan game.
Where would you
I'm
play?
very interested. Where would I play him? I think he's a midfielder or a centre-half. I don't think he's a right-back. However, I think if he is used as a right-back, I won't have too many problems about it because it's probably the best place for him to get minutes at the moment. But I think he's going to be a superb player. I'd like to see him in midfield, like I say, because I think he's just got the physique and he's got sort of the power to just dominate in the middle, no matter who he's playing
I do think his best position is defensive mid. But, what about you, Ben? Do you think this is an opportunity for Juan Mata to maybe turn it around with Mourinho? Or is it inevitable he's going to be sold?
To be honest, it's one of those. It's a private relationship between the two of them. We don't know what's gone on, what's been said between the two of them. I think my gut feeling says that he's going to go. I think the tour will be a chance for him to kind of impress and put himself in the shop window. He's strong odds on to go to Everton. Bookies hardly ever get it wrong. There's talk of him being loaned back to Spain. So yeah. Mata, I'd be sad to see him go, but yeah, if he can get a chance and impress, then why not? But for me, I really want to see Andreas Pereira impress because, I love that guy, and he didn't get a sniff last season. I felt so sorry for him because he got the empty promises from Van Gaal. So hopefully, Portuguese speaking lad, hopefully he can get on well with Mourinho.
Yeah,
in his backroom team and impress.
Mourinho, for a man who hasn't really played that many youth players, although he did say in his first press conference he's given 49 debuts in his career. I haven't looked at those 49, but I'm not sure how many have actually made it in terms of senior careers. But there's so many young players right now at United. And I know it's kind of cliche to say, United's Academy, X, Y, Z, but there genuinely are so many on the edge. We haven't even mentioned Adnan Januzaj. He was the dog's bollocks 12, 18 months ago. And then you've got Pereira, Fosu Mensah. You got Wanzebe, who is cracking talent at centre back, and then Luke Shaw's coming back. I mean, what player are you most excited to see play against Wigan, or in this whole pre-season tour? If you had to choose one player you're most excited to see, who is it, Dylan, and why?
Luke Shaw, because I want to see how he comes back. Because before he got injured, best player of the season. If he'd have carried on that season, he'd have been player of the season by miles. He was superb. Van Gaal did, as bad as Van Gaal was. He did say in the pre-season before that it was the year of Luke Shaw, and by the looks of it, he was right at the start. Yeah. With the way he started the season, he looked absolutely superb. It was a shame he got that leg break, but I'm looking forward to seeing how we can bounce back from it as we get back to the season.
I think it'll be interesting as well, Ben, to see whether Martial still plays on the left or whether Memphis Depay comes back in, because that partnership with Shaw was cracking on the left before Martial went on the left, wasn't it?
It really was. It really was. I think, again, it just depends on... again, there's a big question mark over Memphis Depay as well and his future. Again, it feels a little bit make or break, this tour also, for Memphis. But yeah, as you say, the link-up play with Shaw was fantastic. We never really got to see Shaw and Martial in full flow when both down the left. I think that would be equally as good, as Memphis kind of likes to cut in a bit more. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Dylan. Looking forward to see Luke Shaw back, because I believe if Shaw was fit last season, we'd have got top 4. We'd have just pipped City, because he would have easily 6 points difference easily, I think, with Shaw in the side. Yeah. So yeah, Shaw, Fosu Mensah, Pereira. Yeah.
I mean, and if we're looking at the pre-season as a whole, not just the Wigan game, last year we were undefeated in the pre-season under Van Gaal, and everything looked rosy. We go in and then, well, we know what happened. What do you expect Mourinho to want to get from the pre-season, Dylan? Is it just a case of learning who his players are, building relationships, or is he really trying to assess players before selling them?
I think what Mourinho's going to get out of this pre-season is he's going to get to see a chance to see what his players are capable of in a real match day situation, rather than what they're capable of on the training pitch, because it's a different situation. I wouldn't say there's pressure in a pre-season tour, but it's a real game, and they've got to be kind of at it more so than they have against themselves in training. So I think he's going to be able to see more what they are capable of when it comes to games in reality, rather than what he sees behind closed doors at training.
Yeah. And what about yourself, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, again, I partially agree with that point. I think in some ways there will be a lot of pressure on the players, because they know they have to impress, and they're going to have a short time span to impress. So on themselves, there probably will be a fair amount of pressure. Hopefully that'll reflect in some decent performances and give Mourinho a tough decision to make if he does have to whack some players. Hopefully it can only bode well for us. But he is inheriting a very young squad now as well. So he's almost forced to really... The young players are young players. They're fearless anyway, aren't they? So, I think, I think it's going to bode well. I've got a good feeling about this season. I think it's going to go well.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, it's definitely, I think, as I said earlier, it's not going to be boring either way. And if we did if we did miss out on a top 4 and goal difference, we've signed Ibrahimovic and Mkhitaryan, who scored 49 goals combined in their respective leagues last year. And do you remember how many goals Man United scored in the Premier League last year? 49. 49 exactly.
Yeah.
So those two players alone scored as many goals as us last year, and they've been added into a squad which has got Martial, Rooney. There's talent everywhere in that team. I mean, talking about the game on Saturday, it's just going to be a run-around game. I don't think it'll be too intense, but if I had to put a gun to your head and say, what's your prediction? What's your prediction for the game, Dylan? Do you expect United to go out and smash them, or a little tepid 2-1 affair?
Yeah, I think it'll be quite tentative. I'll go for like a stroll in the park, 2-0 to United kind of thing. Just nothing too aggressive in the play. Just kind of one of those games where you see a team grab hold of it early on and just kind of seal it out as the game progresses. What
about you, Ben?
I got sneaky for a 1-0 United. I think it's going to be a bit dull. I don't think there's going to be much action personally. The first game of pre-season is traditionally shit, so I think I don't know. It's tough to tell because you need to obviously see teams and stuff like that. He could just play a load of under 18s and just save most of the main guys for the China tour.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just going to go for 1-0. I think. Yeah, I don't think we'll concede.
Yeah, I think in terms of games to predict, the first game that you've played in months is going to be one of the hardest ones you're ever going to have to predict. But I don't expect it to be an all guns blazing affair, just like you were talking about there. I do expect United to win because it's Mourinho. We've got to start strong, but I think it will be cagey. And I've got absolutely no idea who's going to play, and that's kind of part and parcel of the start of the pre-season tour. So I was going to ask Dylan how he's going to get on in the game because he's going. Yeah. But his internet decided to cut out. So it's just me and Ben here for the end. Thanks for coming on, Ben. I would say thanks to Dylan, but he's not here. Hopefully we get off to a good start, but it doesn't really matter. It's just the beginning of pre-season. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on in China against Dortmund and City. But this is just a sort of warming up the legs for that China tour. So thanks for coming on. And
no worries, mate.
Hopefully we can have it start with a win, mate.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Cheers, Sam.
Take it easy.